everyone. My name is Tanisha, and let me take you all on a journey. So, there's this fun tradition in my family. Once a month, we all head out together to go shopping at a particular special location. Once you're there, you race up a flight of stairs, get your bag sealed with one of those plastic ties, and hold on tight to the handles of a shopping cart. The glass doors slide open, the AC blasts on your face, and you have just stepped into paradise, the supermarket. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the supermarket is one of my favorite places in the world. Almost everything that I could possibly want is over there. It's almost like a game to me, with three levels, or rather three aisles, that I need to target. The first aisle is slightly tricky. See, I've been developing this new habit of making my own breakfast every day and trying out new recipes along the way. It started with just overnight oats, but now there are way too many choices. What items do I pick to sustain me for a week at least? My eye falls on some fresh avocados and a tasty packet of instant noodles. I'm thinking tomorrow is going to be a busy day, and I might not have enough time to make myself some avocados on toast. So, might as well pick the instant noodles, right? Well, it's not that simple because another question pops up in my head. Is sacrificing my good health really worth saving some time? Let's step away from all that chaotic confusion for a second and move on to the next style, stationery. Does anybody else have a weird obsession with collecting stationery? I see quite a few hands. Thank God it's not only me. So for me, if it's aesthetic and in pretty colors, my mind goes, wow, I really want this. This time, I spot two sets of watercolors, and there's an assignment coming up that I could really use them for. However, we have a problem. I can only take one set home, because how much ever I might want both sets, I do not need both of them. So we're approached with another hitch in my decision-making skills, because how can I choose one set over the other when both are equally as good? Research continually says that emotions tend to override logic when it comes to making decisions. But right now, I do my best to bring out the reasoning as I say, the money would be better spent elsewhere. So I make my choice and I move on to the next aisle, the bath and shower section. In my opinion, you should count yourself lucky if you've ever had the blissful opportunity of walking down this aisle. It feels like a botanical garden thrown at your face, in the best way possible. Your senses soak up all those feelings, and it's almost like you're deeply meditating for a second. I spent 15 minutes in this section. I'm looking for a new shampoo, particularly one that I've seen pop up all over my socials. Everybody is talking about it. It smells like vanilla and it's great for dandruff. But there are a few problems. I don't exactly like vanilla. Don't get me wrong, if you guys like vanilla, that's great. I just find it a tad bit strong. And my hair needs something to deal with hair fall, not dandruff. But as usual, I get hit with that case of FOMO, or the fear of missing out, just like 75% of other young adults in this generation who struggle with it. If you look at all these crossroads that we visited, they all had one thing in common. They were like crossroads that we were approached with where only one path can be selected. At this point, I realize that my parents are waiting for me. So I hurry up and I make my choice. And now that it's all done, you have the chance of heading to the counter, checking out all your things, and taking your findings and achievements back home. Well, there's a second part to this tradition. Now that we have two overfilled shopping bags waiting to be unpacked, I get to do the honors and open them, as if they were some kind of treasure chest. And this is when I actually get to see all the things that we bought, and the thought strikes me. All three of us, my mom, my dad, and me, we began at the same place. We walked in through the very same doors and walked out the same way as well. But our individual mini journeys that we took within those aisles of the supermarket were quite different. person to person, our needs varied, and hence the choices that we made, or even the choices that we were approached with, were quite different. My mother, for instance, spent her 25 minutes in the food section, where she debated whether we needed more rice or perhaps more sugar. Then it was a quick detour to the stationery aisle, where she picked up a diary for her business records. My dad, on the other hand, spent his 25 minutes grabbing some shaving cream, a few pens for office work, and a few household items like detergent. My dad's needs varied from those of my mother and mine, and this difference was evident in the choices that he made and the path he took. In fact, those aisles of the supermarket had taken every single shopper on their own route. As I passed by a shopper, a single glance into the shopping cart felt like me taking a glimpse of not only their path in the supermarket, but their path through life as well. At times, these paths intersected, and at other times, they diverged, but nonetheless, choices were made. While my choices seemed minor to me, they did make me feel great about myself. Because to me, these decisions that I made felt like ways I could grow and develop myself into a better person. For example, in the first aisle, when I picked the avocados on toast instead of the instant noodles, I also chose the crossroad that leads towards better health. It reminds me a bit of when Virat Kohli embarked on his pursuit of fitness and adopted healthier habits. He ended up influencing the fitness culture not only of the Indian cricket team, but our entire country as a whole. And in the second aisle, when I made the frugal choice of taking home only one set of watercolors, I felt a bit cool. I saw myself making decisions similar to Keanu Reeves, who cut his own paycheck for The Matrix so that more money could be spent on the film crew and the film itself. He's a successful actor, but chooses to remain down to earth and have a modest approach to life, and in fact still uses public transport to this day. And in the third aisle, when I made the choice of taking the shampoo that smelled like pomegranates and helped with hair fall instead of dandruff, I felt a bit like Frida Kahlo, an icon and a strong woman who did not hide her identity under societal pressures and transformed beauty standards by showing off her facial hair and unibrow proudly in her paintings. In those heavy cloth bags, the things that my mom, dad, and I each bought took up their own space, kind of like little souvenirs that marked how they went from one crossroad to another, making one decision before the next. At this point, the supermarket started to look like a map of my own life, if not that of others too. And in unexpected ways, just spending those 25 minutes in those aisles of the supermarket taught me how to handle bigger situations with more difficult crossroads, similar to what we all face in our lives, at all stages of it. And these choices that we make, from one ripple to another, ultimately transform what our lives are going to be like. These ripples are the souvenirs that we collect along the journey of life. Thank you.